always knew I wanted to be a biologist from the time I was a little kid. But I've cycled through various aspects of biology. I wanted to study frogs, I wanted to study orangutans. I was really into orangutans, actually. So when I first started in college, that's what I wanted to do. And then birds came about sort of by coincidence, in that I had the opportunity to do a summer project looking at birds up in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, and trying to characterize the biological diversity of breeding birds. So all of a sudden I had to go out and learn all these bird calls, because breeding birds, you generally don't see them, you just hear them. So you're going out in a really wooded area, and the birds aren't necessarily showing themselves to us, they're showing themselves to each other and making lots of noise, but in order to be able to count them, I had to identify them. So within the span of a couple months, I had to learn about 150 bird songs by ear, which I did, and I'll tell you, within the first 24 hours, I was completely hooked. I knew after that there wasn't anything else that I wanted to study but birds. Seeing the specimens here, it's amazing to me to be able to observe the diversity of birds, even though I'm located here in Central Florida. And being able to share that with the students too. So even though the ornithology class is a lecture-based course, because we're teaching it in here, we can pull out all of these specimens and let students see diversity they otherwise wouldn't. So the students that I've met here at UCF that are interested in birds, I've met them mostly through my ornithology course, and it was very obvious right away that they were excited about birds, and so they'd show up, they'd be the first to show up in class, they'd always be there for the voluntary field trips we had on the weekends. They were wonderful field observations in their notebooks, and actually after the first ornithology course we had, they even started their own chapter of the National Audubon Society here at UCF, now called the Nighthawks, which is an active one here on campus. The most inspirational for me has been Jane Goodall, and so I learned about Jane Goodall in high school, and that's really what ignited my passion for primatology. And unlike Jane Goodall, I didn't want to go study the chimps. I wanted to go study the orangutans, but she's the one who really lit that fire for me. And when I got to William & Mary as an undergrad, I was so excited about all the different types of organizations that were available to be a part of. I joined so many. I even started a couple myself. But the one that I stuck with the longest and that I enjoyed the most was Roots and Shoots, which is an organization that was started by Jane Goodall. And so we worked with local schools to provide activities and fun events for kids to connect with nature. And through this organization, I also had the opportunity to meet Jane Goodall, which was a total highlight of my life. So yeah, she's definitely the female in STEM that I've looked up to the most, but there certainly are lots of others. Rachel Carson comes to mind, reading Silent Spring as an undergraduate. That definitely had an impact on me in the way that I see the world and my responsibilities as a biologist and a human being.